What's up, everybody? This is King L Bay. Tonight I'm doing a video on private rights versus Moorish rights, and I want to show everyone this to show everyone that, and throughout the Constitution, there's a lot of privacy and a lot of rights that you can get, and a lot of things that you can do without making this more complicated. Um, the reason why I started coming to this conclusion, because when you're dealing with the courts, if you look at my videos, I talk about all the different rules, but I try to appropriate the information so people can get a understanding of everything. And I start doing some more other videos on other things for us, privatizing your instruments and doing other stuff and showing you how to really do that, bringing private property over to the public and using certain agreements and contracts to utilize that in the public, and then doing things for the public benefit as a volunteer. And I show you all of that for us, how all of this stuff starts in jail, because a lot of people just don't get it. So tonight we're gonna talk about private rights versus Moorish rights. So I told you, you got to understand these, where the public side is and the private side. And you got to understand, I'm going to go over a court case that talk about some of the privacy rights in that. But people need to understand this because it's very profound throughout the Constitution. And people are not really understanding private citizenship, private rights, private property, private domain, private zone versus public zone. It's just a lot of things. Privatization, privatizing. You hear these words throughout our society, but people don't really understand interpreting what that means. So I want you guys to look at this case that I'm about to bring up. Let me see if I can pull the case up. And then, as the case, I'm gonna show you some stuff about um, stuff in the Constitution about the supremacy clause. Now, I'm gonna show you something. It says, as applied to private entities. Here we go. Private entities. A compelling government interest standard poses additional difficulties. Private entities pursue private ends and interests, not those of government. If every private organization had established a compelling public interest or compelling state interest to justify any activity that had an impact on individual privacy, it would fail to do so in most, if not all, conceivable cases. To use an example, refer to the ballot arguments. A private business extending credit or selling insurance may have a legitimate commercial need for obtaining personal information, but such a need is not thereby legally transformed into a state interest, let alone a compelling one. Now listen to the dialogue. Listen to the dialogue. Let me see. Let me go over here where it talks about the the first, like, how the Constitution is embedded in this. Let me see. Am I going the right way? I'm gonna go through, look at this case. I'm just gonna show you guys some stuff. Just I'm studying and breaking down this case and just going through so you guys can look at what it says about the Constitution and how private rights are in there. Let me go through. The Supreme Court has included the post Griswold implicit right to privacy, certain rights of freedom of choice in um, um, marital, sexual, and reproductive matters, but has not recognized a general right to engage in sexual activities done in private. Just hitting you up. It says diversity of federal constitution. Privacy interests have left the federal right to privacy, especially in its comprehension, prenumbral sense without coherent legal definition or standard. But I'm trying to find it. Let me try to find this for you. I had it, but I just want to show you where it talks about how the Constitution, the first, the fourth, the fifth, the ninth, and I think even the 10th even is included in. Let me see what's going on. Let me go here. Y'all need to check out this case, and I'll show you this case. But I just want to show you where it talks about the Constitution. It's all in the first, the the, the fourth, the fifth, the ninth, and the 10th Amendment about private rights. It don't say nothing about Moorish rights or any rights or anything about any of that. So a lot of people don't understand this when you're dealing with this information and how this stuff can work. I can't find it for some reason. Normally I was finding it before, but I want to bring it up. It was several quotes talking about the Constitution um, in here. Uh, I'm gonna find it. I just give me a second. I'm just gonna go through, try to make this video not super long, but I'm gonna get this right. It says the right to privacy will not destroy welfare nor undermine any important government program. I'm just showing you this, but oh, here you go. The right to privacy is an important American heritage and essential to the fundamental rights guaranteed by the First, Third, Fourth, Fifth, Ninth Amendment to the U.S. Constitution. The right should be abridged only when there is a compelling public need. So you got to understand this. So it says the right to privacy is a right to be left alone. It is a fundamental and compelling interest. So I just want you to understand how powerful your private rights is and how things are coming about. Like when you create, for example, when you create a private trust and you create a private franchise, and then all the members of that uh, private franchise set up a body politic, that is very powerful in the movement because you can then set up everything you need as a body politic to bring some commercial activity to develop your communities and your private society. So I don't understand if Moors really understand all the concepts involved with this process, but I just want to show you through this video. So let's go to the Ohio Constitution. I'm gonna break this down for you. Let me go here first. Let me show you how powerful your rights are, private rights. We just talking about private. We're not even talking about people talking about Moorish, but you have a right to private. You have a right to have a private organization that can then nationalize itself, that can form a body politic, that then can do business within the territory and privatize all its instruments. I don't think people are really telling you this. And if you're going to use your private industry to nationalize and conform as a uh, body politic to be able to do commercial, then you got to understand how to maintain the rights over your private instruments and how they can be used and how one nation to another nation can either do it by treaty or contract. And this is what this is one of the understandings I bring and develop because I told you I'm a litigator. When you go into court and you see things, the court eventually, when you've been there a lot, they start talking to you and revealing things to you, things that you have to bring to fruition to really understand and break this apart. So let's go here. So I'm talking about, we just still talking about um, private rights versus Moorish rights. And you'll see nowhere in here about Moorish rights. And I probably have to do another video on a treaty because you got to understand this. And when I get to that part, I'll break that down. But let's focus on this for a second. So private property shall ever be held, if you follow the videos, inviolate. That means that they can't violate any of your private property. So we still on the private side. It's all throughout the Constitution. I'm showing you how powerful this is and how to use private rights when you're coming into the court to understand, to break up all that confusion. And if you really know how to use the civil rules and all of that together with the rules of evidence, you can break down, even with the superintendent rules, you can really break down and put things in fruition and put things in their proper, I need to use the proper context, appropriate this information so that when you go to court, right, the information will just flow and you can stand on your square because you know what you're doing when you coming in there and you talking about private rights. And it has to be a controversy. They have to prove that they have an interest in the property, period. And it have to be secured through some type of form of contract. Let me see. I should have pulled up, like, let's look up private treaty real quick. I'm going to show you something. Now, this is pretty much the same definition I found in Black's laws. A private treaty, a sale involved, it says, a sale involves the sale of tangible property between two parties that agree to the terms before the sale completes, according to so what is a private treaty? Treaty involving sales of tangible property between two or more parties that agree to the terms before the sale completes, according to the dictionary.com. So this is pretty much the same definition I found in Black law. So I'm just letting you know how powerful private is. Private rights, privatizing. So let me go here. Let me show you this. So, because everything is about showing you. And then you have to understand the tricks and the trades when doing the other stuff. And that just came with time and me developing this. And this is why I'm keep going over the same information till people get it. So it says, nor shall any interference with the rights of the conscience be permitted, nor shall any interference, nor shall any interference with the rights of the conscience. So when they talk about this definition, they talking about your morality. And now we're talking about business. When you're talking about family affairs, you're talking about interfering voice acting as a guide to righteousness or wrong behaviors. So when you're dealing with contracts, all of this stuff is dealing with your righteous and wrong behaviors and your business morals. So you got to understand this. Morals. When you talk about morals, most of the time it's relating to the concept of business or your actions towards other people. Breaking this down. So now let's go to the Constitution. Now I just want you to understand. It says this Constitution and the laws of the United States, which shall be made in pursuant thereof, and all treaties made or which shall be made under the authority of the United States, shall be the supreme law of the land. Okay, take it right here. It says, shall be supreme law of the land. And the judge in every state shall be bound thereby, and anything in the Constitution or laws of any state to the contrary notwithstanding. So let's just go up here to Article 1, Section 10. Once again, the contract clause. I just want to focus on this. No state shall enter into any or laws impairing the obligation of a contract. So if the Constitution is supreme law of the land, and private rights and everything is a part of this, and they can't interfere with the rights of a contract obligation. Ain't that still, you have the supremacy clause? Ain't this still a part of the supremacy clause? Your private rights, your private right to contract, and they can't interfere or bridge with that. Period. No way, no how. That's why Moors are creating private trust and then contracting. And then put your nationality together in the form of a contract. I'm trying to show people, if we had the Moorish question in front of you, what would you have to do to preserve your rights? Nationality is a part of this, but it's not the end all be all. And you have to understand what's going on so that you can understand how to protect and safeguard your private property, because all this is based upon asset protection. And you got to understand how this, and that's what we doing here at M.U.S.T. You ain't seeing nobody breaking this down from this standpoint. And the reason why I could do that, because I've been to court. I've been to federal court. I've been to state court. I've been all over trying to figure this stuff out. And once you have done a lot of stuff and you fought a lot of cases, you begin to develop a set of skill sets, and you develop a set of eyes and ears to see information, and certain things start to jump off the page, and you begin to learn these fundamental practices. So you hear nothing in there talking about Moorish rights. And we ain't even getting to the treaties. It already says, okay, the Supremacy Clause established the federal laws made to it and treaties made under its authority constitute the supreme law of the land. So I'm just letting people understand this information, soak this up, take a look at this, understand what's going on. And you got to understand to be careful with doing all these contracts so that you don't circumvent your rights right back out the door. Let's go. Let's go. Um, just want to show you. Let's go back over here. Let's go to rights of publicity. Let me go here. I'm gonna show you something. I already talked about that. And I ain't even going to. I didn't showed you guys the statute for instruments of value. Let me see if I can. Um, we ain't talking about this. I already did that. Constitutional rights. Um, let me see if I can go to this statute, Ohio Revised Code. So I just showed you it's a such thing. Um, I'm just gonna go through. I'm gonna show you something. Right of publicity of individual is freely transferable and descendable. Civil actions to enforce rights of publicity. So check this. When you secure your property and your whatever it is, and you secure your private property, make it an asset under your instrument. So let me show you. You have civil actions to enforce your publicity rights. These is private property. Nobody can use this. So it says the following person may bring a civil action to enforce the rights to set forth in this chapter. A person or person, including individual's right of publicity, is a issue who collectively own an individual right of publicity, subject to licensing regarding the right of publicity. So I'm not gonna go over this whole statute, but I'm just gonna show you some things. Let me show you. Even it talks about let me see. I'm trying to find it where it's even talking about a person traveling, means for travel. Let me see. This ain't. I don't think it's in here somewhere. Uh, let me see. It's in here. Um, so a lot of guys, uh, you know, we it's right here in our face. Granting consent for commercial use. So if you get your private property and you know what, if you understand how to do this and commercialize everything, it's right in your statutes. We already figured that out. So just take your time, go through, read. I mean, pause the video, read the stuff that I'm showing. Additional remedies. The remedies to provide This chapter is addition to any other remedy provided by the state or federal or common law. Here we go again. How do you get to the common law? Contract. Common law is through contract. Everybody, oh, what is the common law? Contract. Me and you have a right to contract. That's under the common law. And it's protected under federal and state statutes. So if the state don't deal with it 9 times out of 10, it's under the contract clause under the United States. So if they violate your common law rights, you can take it straight to federal court. But it got to be a contract. That's why I was trying to tell you about diversity of arguing diversity of citizenship. You got to understand how this works. Understand the instrumentality doctrine and how instruments become property, wills, and all these documents. You got to understand this stuff to bring value. You get wealth through building contracts. You got to understand all this information and what I'm bringing to the table. No one has really broke this down like this in a video. And the only reason I keep trying to tell you, I go to court. You talk to somebody who litigates. I'm bringing forth information. I'm trying to put stuff together for my people so we can have these remedies. Damages in civil actions to enforce. I ain't even gonna go over here. They got penalties, so they even got a fee schedule. A criminal penalty imposed under this section, cumulative to a civil remedy under this section. It could be theft, all of that, fraud, using, all that comes with that. I ain't even damages in civil actions to enforce public publicity rights. Right here. I'm dropping this science. I wanted to find that one about traveling and everything, right of publicity and persona of individual domicile residents in the state or after the effect of this section. It says domicile resident was in the state on the day of the individual's death. So, you know, and we understand that all crimes are commercial under CFR, I think 72.1. Just bringing this information, but this video is coming to a close. I just wanted people to see this information, to understand how this stuff works, and that the M.U.S.T organization has brought some things to fruition and know how to appropriate this information to make it work. So everybody who's talking about rights to travel and everything, you got to understand how to do this, secure your rights through contracts, through privatizing or privatization, understanding how to utilize the public entities to enforce your rights through contracts. This is King L. Bay. I'm breaking this down for everybody to see. I got more videos to come. Keep watching this video. This is Moorish rights versus private rights. Peace. I'm out.